All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. Yes, I'm on the show with a new hairdo, guys, but it's not about my hair. The inclusion of women in national affairs and, of course, public governance in Nigeria is a pathway for dynamic and resilient growth for the country. And our history has always told us that the narrative and the struggle for all that is going on in our country today is because of the challenges we are facing and because we've not unified ourselves in terms of how to look for solutions to move forward. And I think on this note, it's important for me to welcome everybody again to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Atanda-Owo. And of course, it's time for us to hear what on this day initial segment has for us. When I return, I give my submission about it. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with me. There's a lot happening behind the camera when we went on the break. But quickly, let me give my submission on this day in history. This was exactly in 2016, to be precise, firmly, which exhibited the power of the Nigerian voters. And it showed credibility of elections in Nigeria at a time that no one ever thought, you could beat a sitting president in our country. More so, the story also reflects on how former President Goodluck Jonathan's strong will for democracy and, of course, the choice of the people that must prevail in the country, in our country, Nigeria. And I think that this is a strong reminder for every one of us in terms of the kind of legacy we want to leave behind. That is one of the takeaways from on this initial segment today. But guys, it's time for a quick message from my sponsors, those that have put me on this platform. Let's get the message from there. And when I return, we'll go straight to the main conversation. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. This is the last edition for the International Women's Month, in terms of spotlight on Real Talk with Kike. As over the last couple of series, I've interviewed previous women, and global icons on this live platform to make a point that women have a greater role to play in the shaping of our future, and of course to celebrate their achievements across the globe as an inspiration for upcoming women. And today is no exception, as I have the minister who will be joining me later on the show. She is a familiar face on Real Talk with Kike, and she has played instrumental role as strategist rather for the Tinubu administration to come to power. And on the edition of Real Talk with Kike today, I will explore all current affairs as the Minister of Art and Culture and Creative Economy in Nigeria. She will be discussing all the political engagement. I will dive into the advocacy for cultural preservation, the challenges and, of course, the opportunities in promoting the creative economy today and our own perspective on women's leadership and empowerment. Additionally, of course, I also have Amaka Nwokolo, who is the director and head of the Faith Institute Faith Foundation, who will also be coming on the live show today, talking about aspiring leaders, particularly women who are doing well in their field. And of course, Amaka will be sharing a lot with us regarding our foundation and how we can move forward in terms of partnership or collaboration with the government. Stay with me, and when I return, we'll hear Amaka first, and hopefully we'll be able to connect some my guest, that's the Honorable Minister Anato Musawa. Let's go on a quick break, and when I return, you'll be hearing their voice. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. This is Real Talk with Kike, and of course, I have Faith Nwokolo, right? Yes. Many thanks, many thanks. Despite the short notice, I must say, I'm so glad to have you, for you to oblige to be here today to talk about what affects us all, especially as women, and of course, I've brought quite a number of iconic women on this episode of International Women's Month this March, and I must say that just going through your profile quickly, I must say well done with all that you've done thus far.
Thank you.
But quickly, entrepreneurship, because I know that everybody wants to be a CEO today, especially in this country, Nigeria.
Correct.
So with the economic challenges, how has it been thus far in terms of ease of doing business with your own foundation? Let's start from there.
Thank you so much for having me. I think that if we were to look at the ease of doing business, especially as it relates to women entrepreneurs, it's interesting because a lot of Nigerians, right, are, how do I describe this now? Very dogged. We're very tenacious people. So if I were to share data from our State of Entrepreneurship report, for example, which is a report that we put out every year, and that report assesses entrepreneurial activity in Nigeria across 36 states, including the FCT.
Okay.
And what we usually do is develop an index that shows what is happening using 5 indicators. So we look at business performance, we look at skills acquisition, we look at technology adoption, we look at perception of opportunities, and we look at the enabling environment. Now, we've put out this report since 2021, and for 3 years in a row, consistently, perception of opportunities has ranked the highest on that index, which explains and which just shows that despite the hurdles that exist within the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Nigeria, Nigerians are optimistic about the future and are, dogged and tenacious and continue to push. So yes, with regards to ease of doing business, things can be better, of course. For example, last year, one of the reports we put out was a report looking at taxation and really just advocating for tax streamlining and tax harmonization. And of course, it's one of the major issues that a lot of entrepreneurs, face, including women-led businesses, right? But having said that, it's not easy within the space, but I would like to look on the brighter side, which is the fact that a lot of entrepreneurs are staying in the game and keeping their head above water. Okay,
many thanks for that insight right there. And I like the fact that you've given us index thus far with all that you've done, But let me take you back to the theme of this International Women's Month, which is Inspire Inclusion.
Right.
I must ask you, has the numbers been growing in the entrepreneurship space in Nigeria particularly? Do you think that, the space is large enough for women, especially when it comes to the support system that you expect that women should have? Let's remove the government aspects now.
Right.
I'm talking about the human relationship, because that as women, is that there's some, I keep it real on this platform. There's some level of competition that comes with women, well, there are some that are healthy, but there are some that are toxic. You understand what I'm talking about? So what's your take thus far with the Inspire Inclusion, especially that is related to us as women?
So I think that if we're looking at inclusion, and again, I'll look at it from the entrepreneurship perspective, because, that's the bulk of the work that we do. It's interesting because we're seeing women take on entrepreneurship even more. And some people might argue that it's necessity driven. Some people might argue that it's driven by innovation. But whatever the influencing cause is, the fact is that we're seeing women, thrive a bit more within the entrepreneurship ecosystem. If I was to share some numbers, for example, last year, from our State of Entrepreneurship report, we had women entrepreneurs numbering 43%. And that was up from 39% the previous year. So what we're saying is that women are also beginning to, in a way, take up space within the entrepreneurship ecosystem. Now, is it easy? No. Is there more that can be done with regards to inclusion? Yes, I would argue yes. When we decided to do a deep dive to really understand what is happening with women-led businesses, there were a couple of things that we found out in terms of challenges, right? And then there were also a couple of things that we found out that we can use as a case to say, here is why you should invest in women. And so I will start from that because, you know, we found some very interesting positive attributes. For example, we found out that women are great managers, especially when compared with their male counterparts. And this is not me saying this because I'm a woman. This is data. This is research.
This is real. This is true.
This is data saying that women are better managers when it comes to business, right? We also found that women are great when it comes to agility, to digital literacy and technology. So they are swift to adapt to technology, right? We found that women are multitaskers. We found that women, you know, are very focused on impact-focused businesses, you know? So a woman would rather, you know, start a business that has an impact element as against just starting a business for whatever reason.
So talking about starting a business, I feel that, you know, we live in a world where, like I said earlier, everybody wants to be a CEO. Do you think it is lack of not getting a job, so to speak, that makes women decide to, you know, say, let's try the waters? And the reason why I'm saying that is the fact that, you know, the competitiveness when it comes to the inclusion in Nigerian environment, so to speak, you know, in terms of our own perspective, in terms of challenges that come to breaking into, you know, that business from that space, you know, not waiting on employment from anybody and just say, you know what, I need to do this, you know. Do you think that is what is leading, you know, some career women, so to speak, because there are some people that are not even cut out to be a businesswoman. They just want the white collar job, so to speak. Do you think this is what is leading them to do that? Also, I must ask you, what led you to create this foundation? Is it something similar as well? You know, you need to educate people who are listening to you right now in terms of, you know, let me hear your story before we put in the answer.
So, Faith Foundation is a 24-year-old nonprofit. You said
2021, right?
2000 actually.
2000.
So it's 2020. It's what, 24 years old.
24 years old. Interesting.
I didn't start it. I wish I could take credit for that. But we were founded by Mr. Foladiola, who is the, you know, co-founder of GT Bank. And the reason behind setting up the foundation was essentially to equip entrepreneurs or Nigerians with entrepreneurship knowledge and support so they can start, grow, and scale businesses, right? And so that's the driving focus for everything that we do at Faith Foundation. And within the foundation, we have divisions that ensure that we're able to focus on this mission and raise sustainable businesses by providing them the required support. Now, with regards to women-led businesses within the space, the question was, what's driving women starting businesses? And I think it's a mixture. It's probably a mix of both. We see that unemployment is at an all-time high, right? And then we also see that the economy is not exactly smiling. If I were to use our strict parlance, it's not smiling on anyone, right? So even if you hold down a full-time job, you find that what you're earning is not enough to keep afloat. So you still want to have some form of side hustle. Exactly. And we preach that. There's nothing wrong with that, with having multiple streams of income. In fact, a lot of you know, investment experts would tell you to do that. So we see that as one reason, but we also find that there's innovation happening. You have young women who are coming up now who view technology as a tool to address problems within the environment or their society, and they're developing businesses using that platform, whatever platform it is, as long as it's tech enabled, you know, to provide solutions. So for me, I would say you have innovation on the one hand, you have some form of, you know, necessity as well on the other hand, but whatever the case is, we're seeing women, you know, take up space and take up their own within the ecosystem. Yes, which is an exciting thing.
Which is an exciting thing. I agree with you. I'm a CEO myself, you know, but I had to go through that experience, that journey from different organizations. But putting that aside, it's not about me today, it's about you, you know, because I'm curious again. I'm trying to just quickly do some research work, you know, about your profile, and I must say that, you know, I'm really impressed with your portfolio thus far, with your career path, and how you are using your voice to actually lend that issues or challenges, I like to call it. I don't like to use the word problems, challenges on the issues that affect women, you know. And I must say, you know, with what you've done thus far, you know, do you think that the economy is recognizing that challenges? When I say the economy, I'm talking about the government right now in terms of partnership, collaboration right now. So what are the major challenges that you think that, you know, the foundation is facing in terms of that creative economy, in terms of how to address the issues that affect women the most? That's the first one, you know. And also the fact that the mentality of some of our leaders today with the women belong to the kitchen is fast changing, you know. And I like the fact that, you know, when you talk about the banking industry today, there are women, precise-led women who are, you know, you know, they push the male, you know, this is a male-dominated industry. And you've seen how women are thriving. That's my first question to you. My second question to you, because of time, is the fact that I know you've spoken about, you know, the skills, the technology, enabling environment, and opportunities. What opportunities do you see that, you know, women should leverage more, especially when it comes to the Nigerian cultural challenges, you know, that is a little bit the economic development in our country, that is, you know, that you think that can make them generate more money even from their own comfort zone right now. You don't have to own an office, you don't have to own a store, so to speak. Many thanks to technology. How do you want to profile, you know, solution to those who are listening to you and I right now?
Okay, thank you so much. I think in terms of, you know, what the government can do and just working with the government, what we try to do at the foundation, at the Faith Institute, which is the division that I lead, is we try to do a lot of work around research and data, right? So if you were to pinpoint one major issue within the ecosystem, it's data. So for example, if we're even supposed to talk about women and say, what is the financing gap? From our research, we found that access to finance is a major issue. It's the #1 issue for women-led businesses. But then if we were to say, what's the size of the funding issue or problem or challenge, like you said, for women-led businesses, we don't have much information for that. So what we try to do at the Institute, which is the division of the foundation, is, you know, do a lot of work around data collation, analysis, you know, trying to help the government and other stakeholders within the space understand the issue, and then on the back of that, they can design programs and policies, you know, that can help women-led businesses within the space. So with regards to how that can work and collaboration is through advocacy, right? So
creating more awareness.
Awareness, and then also collaborating with stakeholders within the space who are aligned with our vision around improving policies for women, and then we engage with the government, for example, to say, hey, here are the issues that women-led businesses are facing. Here is how we recommend that you solve them, and we are here to support you and handhold you to achieve XYZ. So that's the bulk of the work that we do, you know, at the Institute. And then with regards to the other question around, I think it was something around innovation, right?
Yes, technology.
And technology. What we find as well is that women are very swift to adapt to technology. Right? If I look at our reports that show that 73% of the women that we surveyed last year experienced growth in their businesses as compared to 70% male-owned businesses. And a lot of them experienced growth in, you know, customers, as well as operational efficiency. But then when you drill down a bit more, you find out that it's technology that was driving that, you know? And again, it just shows that women are swift to adapt technology to help, you know, support their businesses and improve their businesses. So with regards to going forward and some of the challenges that women face, my encouragement would be that women, you know, continue to stay on, continue to drive. Some issues that we have found, for example, around access to finance is poor investor readiness. So my encouragement would be that women go out there and get education. You have a lot of opportunities out there. Don't hold back, right? So from our research, we also found that a lot of women tend to hold back as against their male counterparts. And I'll share a quick example just before we leave, right? Okay. During our research, we found that if two people, one male, one female, walk into a financial institution, for example, to ask or request for a loan or some form of financial support, and for the man, he was told you need to meet requirements XYZ, and you meet only one, so sorry, you don't qualify. What he would do would be to say, oh, okay, what do I do to qualify? And he will go back, try to figure it out, and come back. But for a lot of women, once, in fact, to even take that step to come forward is a struggle, is a challenge. And then when they do and they get some form of pushback, they tend to just go away and never come back. So my encouragement would be that, you know, push through some of those barriers. The same way the men would, right? Sometimes you have opportunities and you have a plethora of qualifications. A man would have just one or two and will put in, you know, his application. A woman would want to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And while that is not bad in and of itself, my encouragement to women-led businesses and women generally would be to push through fears, would be to push through seeming obstacles that look like, you know, they're in front of you. But just push through all of that. And you find out, you know what, at the end of the day, the men that you even think are better than you, a lot of times you're better qualified than some of these men that are hustling or struggling, you know, for the same opportunities. So, and this again is backed by research and data. So this is not me saying this, right? So that would be some of my encouragement. One would be to, you know, go for yourself. Yes, investor readiness, you know, educate yourself. Two would be don't hold back, push through. You're probably better qualified than you think. Three would also be partnerships and collaborations. You have a lot of entities out there, you know, supporting women. Get into one, meet other women who are doing amazing stuff. If you're staying in your circle, you know, you might not know. And so working in isolation in 2024 isn't really the way to go. You really want to find organizations that are building women and plug yourself in there. You'll find that, you know, there's help and there's support. Finally would be, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There's help waiting for you. All
right, many thanks for your elaborate submission right there. We'll go on a quick break, and when I return, I'm going back to that financial aspect because I feel that it's important for us to throw more light on that because those are major challenges that women are going through today when it comes to funding. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined today's show, today's conversation is about, you know, entrepreneurship, and we have Amaka Unwokoli, the director and head of the Faith Institute of Faith Foundation. I'm right. Yes. Many thanks for all that you've shared thus far. And unfortunately, you know, we do not have, you know, our main guest, Honorable Minister Atanda-Owo. She will be joining us next week. Of course, she's a familiar face on this platform. She has been on this platform at least 5 times I can recall. But quickly, let me use this opportunity to open our phone lines. Remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77400, and of course it's showing on your screen right now. And we're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and of course on Silverbird platform. Again, many thanks Amaka, for all that you've shared thus far and throwing light on issues that affects women the most. But I must ask you, like when I was going on the break, you know, that I'm coming back to the topic finance, because I feel that this administration has had their own fair share of economic and financial challenges, you know, that has affected every one of us, you and I, in terms of our living standard, not to talk of the business front, so to speak. So I have to ask you, how do you manage, you know, people who come to your foundation, so to speak, in terms of resources, you know, the financial aspect in terms of their goals and objectives? And like we know, in this side of town, is about who knows who, referrals and the likes and all of that. Does your foundation stand in gap between them wanting to, let's say, loan money from a bank to say that, okay, we have done our nitty-gritty information, nitty-gritty information about this individual or about this company, or standing in gap for them in terms of trying to, you know, standing for them in case, you know, they defraud, maybe that for lack of a better word right now, you know, because what's your take on this?
Well, so our approach when it comes to bridging the access to finance gap for women and for entrepreneurs generally is we play a supportive role, right? So for example, if you were to go into a bank to get a facility, you'll be required to put together your financials, right? Yes. If you don't know how to do that, then there's no headway for you. And that's where the Faith School of Entrepreneurship, which is a division within the Faith Foundation, you know, comes in, because they'll provide all of the information you need. provide the hand-holding and the support that you need to be able to fully understand the financial aspect of your business and put together your papers to be able to get a facility. Now, with regards to giving direct money or cash or investment, we don't exactly do that for now. You know, for now, and I say for now because, I mean, we are also evolving in response to the challenges within the space. But what we do is we act as a go-between. We provide what we call funding linkages, right? Over 24 years within the ecosystem, we've built partnerships within and outside of Nigeria. So we know people who are interested in putting money or investing in businesses in Nigeria, for example, but don't know what businesses to invest in, right? So we come in as the go-between and link those type of investors with those who are ready, you know, to be able to take on that money and use it judiciously, okay? So you're not channeling it to something personal. You're actually putting it into the business. You know, and then we can see results because, and that's critical and important because at the end of the day, the goal of the work that we do is to see jobs created, is to also see some form of impact on the GDP in Nigeria, right? So if we're pumping money into businesses and people are diverting it, for example, taking a vacation, you know, traveling outside of the country or something, then we cannot see that ripple effect that we're going for. So I would say that the first step to accessing money or funding or finance or investment, whatever it is you choose to call it, is getting that education first. And we find that that's really the problem. Yes, there's the money, access to money issue, but there's also
in terms of restructuring or putting structure in place.
Yes,
for you.
and it helps in terms of even easing that process for you because if you're financially sound and then you know the numbers of your business, when somebody meets you and says, oh, I like what you're doing, what's the cost of acquiring a customer, for example? You know, how much does it cost to run your business? You can speak confidently around that. Then someone is confident enough to put their money in your business, knowing that you will use it judiciously and that you know what you're doing and then you can give the money back. You know, and if I were to just pivot a bit to women-led business again, because we're talking about women, again, we found that women, you know, are better when it comes to repaying loans. So they have lower portfolio risks, you know, and this again is backed by data. So a woman, you give her money, you loan her money, she would put the money into the business, she will work very hard, and she will pay back. Unlike our male counterparts who, you know, might marry a new wife or, you know. I'm just saying.
All right, I hear you. It's like you're ready to throw the bed under the bus.
No.
All right. Moving away from that, I want to talk about the future and the goal of Faith Foundation because I feel that it's important for us to throw more light on that in terms of the kind of structure, in terms of how you envision the legacy of the organization, so to speak, you know, that would outlive you. You know, and how you think that people can come to, you know, do business with Faith Foundation. Because most of the time when people hear foundation, they think it's an NGO thing, you know, because I feel that what you are doing is giving back to the society and helping women, so to speak. So what's the legacy and the goal of Faith Foundation moving forward?
Well, so going forward, our goal really is to consolidate on our mission, which is really to support businesses and just promote entrepreneurial development in Nigeria. We've done this for 24 years. Yes, and so the goal is not to slow down now. The goal is to say, how do we better support the different segments, you know, within the ecosystem? Because if you look at the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Nigeria, it's pretty dynamic, right? So what happens, for example, in Lagos? We're all in Lagos, we see the hustle and the bustle. It's totally different from what happens in maybe Kaduna, for example, or Osun State, for example, or even in Ilorin, you know, for example. So for us, our Faith Foundation is saying, how do we better support entrepreneurs, not just in Lagos, but all over and across the country, and how do we do that in the most efficient way or manner, right? And so going forward for us, you're going to be seeing a bit more usage and leverage of technology to be able to reach more people.
Especially those in the rural area.
Yes, because we can't necessarily bring everyone into our buildings or our classrooms, so to speak. But with technology, we can reach more people, right? So going forward, it's one of the things we have thought about, we have included in our strategy to say, okay, we want to reach such a number of people, right? More people. How do we do that? We want to leverage technology to do that. So that's on the one hand. The other hand is to also ensure that we continue to deepen the work that we do around policy, improving the business environment, because no matter what we do, if we provide the entrepreneurship education that businesses need, we provide the support that they also need, and we do nothing about the environment, then businesses cannot thrive. And so our goal is to sort of deepen the work that we've already done, but this time with more tangible results in terms of impact. So vis-a-vis, we're looking at job creation, and we're looking at the quality of jobs. And then we're also looking at, the business environment. What are those bills, for example, that need to be passed urgently? What are some of those interventions or policies that need to be within the ecosystem so that businesses can survive and stay afloat and thrive? Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic one, right? I must say many thanks. But before, we move to the last segment of the show, I must ask you this last question, because I know, quite a number of people are inspired with all that you've shared thus far. So what's your advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, and of course, for those who are watching us right now, who are thinking, okay, I want to become another Amaka, or they want to be in your position, what did it take you to be where you are today as the head of this institute, And of course, again, how do you also, manage the expectation in terms of consistency? Many people want to, for lack of a better word, they want to blow right now. They go into business, they feel that I have to be a billionaire right now. What's your message for them?
So for entrepreneurs, my message to entrepreneurs, so whether you're looking to start a business, you're currently running a business, one is to keep hope alive. There's so much happening within the space, within the economy, and we cannot overlook that, right? So as much as we preach, be dedicated, be tenacious, we're also human beings. In fact, we're human beings first. And so mentally, if you're not all right, then you can't run a business. Then we can't be talking about jobs. Then we can't be talking about contributing to GDP. So I think one is to keep hope alive. Two is to understand that there's help out there. And then three is to reach out for that help. So for example, at Faith Foundation, we have a plethora of programs. So whether you're just starting, you've started, you're at the growth stage, you're at the scale-up stage, we have a diverse pool of programs that you can leverage, that you can apply for. We have other organizations, within the space who are doing the same. So you want to reach out and grab as much support as you can. And so the other thing I would also mention would be to join associations, right? Sometimes it eases the burden. For example, for a lot of entrepreneurs, they're looking to access markets, right? So for example, if I to just share an example now, maybe someone in Ogun State, maybe, farming, what do you call it now? Developing honey, right? And you're trying to get your honey from Ogun State into supermarkets, maybe in Ogun State or in Lagos, and all of that. Sometimes doing it alone is tougher than if you were to join some form of association or something that can help you,
so
introduce you.
And introducing you. Apologies, I have to interrupt your line
Not
of
a
thought.
problem.
I feel that it's got to do with power of character. I feel that quite a number of people most times, need to detach themselves from. So there are some entrepreneurs that feel that I'm a big brand, or I'm a brand, I'm this, or in terms of self-development. What's your message to women in terms of power of character, having a good character that can also give you access and promote your brand?
So I think that when it comes to running a business, integrity is definitely an attribute that is non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Right? So when we talk about integrity, we're talking about integrity when it comes to your finances. We're talking about integrity when it comes to your relationship with your suppliers, the customers, and all the stakeholders involved. Reason being that all of this contributes to building your reputation as a business owner and even your business brand. So if people come to know your business as one that stands for integrity, right? That reputation precedes you. And before you know it, it opens up doors for you. And if I were to link that to the access to market example I was sharing, you might not, yes, you would join an association, but you find that you begin to access markets through referrals. because people are speaking on your behalf.
Absolutely.
Right? But if you are dubious, you're cutting corners, and in a country like Nigeria, sometimes it's viewed as a faster route, you know, and it might look like that, but in the long run, if you want to build a sustainable business, a business that would outlive you as the CEO, right, and other generations in your lineage can come to meet, you want to prioritize, maintain integrity and pass that down to your team, the team you're building within your business.
Fantastic one, Amaka. Many thanks, Amaka. Unwokolo.
Yes.
You know, for all you've shared thus far, it's been very inspiring listening to you. And I know that those who are listening to you right now have taken one or two nuggets in how to shape their business moving forward. But quickly, let's move to the last segment of the show that I call Trending Stories. These are stories, you know, that binds us as Nigerians, you know. And my first trending story today is about Senator Gbenga Daniel's son that calls out KFC, so to speak. I don't know if you saw this, but quickly, this is where I have an opinion, you know. As a host, you don't have an opinion, but my trending story, oh my God, this is a classical, you know, story of our country's mirrored challenges. Like you all know that I don't like to say problems on this platform because it's a reflective of the areas where we need critical development, if you ask me. First off, I don't believe that the problem is only unique and peculiar to KFC. The eatery involved, you know, I feel that it's a systematic thing, if you ask me. I'm sure that the international standards of KFC in developed countries that I've been to on numerous occasions with my children accommodate disabled fraction of our society. They would even allow you to even bring in your pets and the likes, and the problems in this scenario are just two-sided. The manager in that video obviously is ignorant and also ill-mannered in terms of human relations to how to apply at discretion, which is one of the things that I asked my guest earlier, Amaka, when it comes to power of character, that I feel that further takes your business or your brand to another level. You don't need to read the company's rules book, so to speak, before you know that as a public establishment, you have to be kind, you have to have empathy, you have to be able to accommodate everyone that comes your way in your store or in your business or in your eatery. So also, it reflects a lack of training and orientation on the part of the businesses, that which is very critical, which is also some of the, you know, nuggets that I've also taken from my guest today. So as a business, a simple mistake can ruin your financial performance, you know, because of course we are talking about finance today and entrepreneurship. You know, the people have the power to boycott your products and services because of this kind of act, and I feel that KFC takes their time to, you know, not to even put a word out. I feel that, you know, it takes them to also try to say that, you know what, I want to train our staffs abroad. You know, these are the things that I feel that the people who have brought the franchise into Nigeria should have also kept the international standard by training their staff. It's not because I'm a trainer or I run a training organization, but I feel that training is very essential in any business that you are opening or in anything that you are doing in terms of reorientation. So I appreciate the appropriate action taken by Obiagedi, I think Ora, that's the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, that's fine, who have closed down the outlets in line with Lagos State's law on people with special needs, you know. And I think Part C, Section 55 of General Provision on Discrimination, which states that a person, you know, shall not deprive another person of access to any place, you know, or vehicles or facility that members of the public are entitled to enter or use on the basis of disability of that person. So earlier, as I mentioned, the systematic challenges that we're facing, I feel that this systematic challenge is because of how people do things. We as a people and society, we are far behind in applying reservations and consideration for the doable members of our society today. How many people are even parking at the lot? We've not seen a lot of designs, if you ask me, in this side of town for wheelchair people and all of that. How many organizations have sport or support facility to disabled people today? Let's put that out there. This same problem, as far as I'm concerned, is like a caution of what has happened at any other establishment in Nigeria, because we are far behind in the culture of supporting or challenge members of our society. We are known for eye service. When we see people, we give eye service. We pretend we are hypocritical in our behavior, and when we recognize that these people are notable people involved, this is now where you see that everybody wants to be friendly or be nice towards you. You know, I just say, what kind of behavior is that? This is a total problem that I feel that we are going through, and the government is there to find solution to that issue. And when I talk about the government, we make up this society, because we keep saying that, okay, government should come, but hello, it's about you and I, the community, that we say, how many community parks do we have in Nigeria today? How many caters for challenged people? So my message to Adebola Daniel, you have asked a valid question, that am I not human enough? I'm using this platform, I'm using this Real Talk with Kike platform to say that, you know, I align with you. I fight for not only your cause, but also to others who may have treated people unfairly, you know, like our country and beyond. So the way the society or human beings treat us can never, you know, diminish us. And we must understand that it's not about those people, it's about us. It's not what they do to us, but the power to change who we are as a person. I know that you understand this already and you believe in yourself, but their misdeeds are not just they are not a reflection of who you are, but a reflection of who they are. And in God's making, you are perfect creation. And never forget that for once, you know, because this course right now, I think that we also have thrown a lot of light on people who are actually going through the same challenges. And I just want to say that at this time, there should have been a public statement again by KFC, apologizing quickly, looking for how to reflect on the sensitivity of this story at the moment, and where they can also take ownership culture. I also feel that that's part of the challenges we are facing today. People lack ownership culture. They are not ready to say that they want to come out and say that, okay, no, we goofed. So as an organization, you know, I feel that that should have been something that should have come to fore. They should have addressed the issue and reached out to him and give a general public apology quickly before this went out of line. So on this one, I just want to, you know, to Adebola Daniels, my unreserved apology is to you and also to Nigerians, and as a sister, I render an apology to you. Unfortunately, what's your take on this story? I'm sure you must have seen it.
Well, I have, and I think that my takeaway would be that even as a business owner, no matter how small it is, this is something you want to take cognizance of. If we're preaching inclusion in Nigeria, and inclusion is broad, so it's not just talking about women, it's also talking about persons living with disabilities, right? So this is something that everyone in Nigeria needs to take cognizance of, including business owners, is to bear that in mind, you know. So you talked about reorientation. It's something that needs to happen across board in Nigeria, and that's something we also preach heavily at the foundation with the work that we do.
All right, many thanks, many thanks. Let me touch on the second trending story quickly before they start running commentary in my ears that I need to wrap up now. And the second trending story for me is celebrating Onyema, the chairman of Air Peace. And I will first off, you know, say that Nigerians have expressed frustration, you know, over perceived unfair pricing practices in the airline industry, particularly involving with British Airways, you know, and of course Virgin Atlantic and Air Peace coming to fall now, going through their route. And I must say that many have also recounted a situation where BA allegedly offered a business class ticket to London for $12,000 and reduced the price to about $3,000 plus, or $3,400 shortly after Air Peace announced its own Lagos-London route. So this is no doubt that an expectation of the Nigerian air commuters, you know, and is ongoing, and of course it's prompted based on the question about potential action against the airlines for exploiting Nigerians. You know, there are quite a number of debates I've seen on socials regarding that. And additionally, I just feel that there are concerns raised about alleged sabotage against Air Peace. You know, I must touch on that. It's not because they are part of my sponsor. It's not because chairman itself is an uncle and extension of a godfather to my children and all of that. I just feel that, you know, Air Peace by past government officials, you know, they are trying to hinder its international operation, and these ongoing challenges within Nigeria's aviation industry prompts the need for robust regulation structure, you know, to address issues of price fairness and probably consumer protection. I'm not calling out the government, but this is the time that I feel that the government has to protect our own outside the borders from unfair treatment, if you ask me, the sabotage outside, you know, the Nigerian airspace, you know. And I just want to use this opportunity to say I congratulate Nigerians and Air Peace on this milestone cross. You know, many parts to our elbow to his elbow. And let me quickly use this opportunity to just say, you know, to dear Barrister Onyema, like I like to refer to him, my chairman, as I fondly call him, you know, on behalf of Nigerians, my humble self, I want to extend my warmest wishes on your birthday. I celebrate your life and the immense contributions you have made to Nigerian economy and the airline industry in particular. As a patriot, I feel that you have connected people and places across the nation, fostering, you know, trade, you know, tourism and sense of unity beyond the airspace. Your philanthropical, you know, efforts, you know, through Onyema's foundation have directly impacted the lives of, you know, countless Nigerians. You know, you've left a legacy that, you know, that will outlive you. Your commitment also to education, I must touch on that, you know, I feel that education, healthcare, community development inspires us all. And on this note, I want to say, my chairman, you are a true Nigerian icon. You are admired by your hard work, your determination, and of course the consistency in giving back to your nation. You know, from my family and I, and of course my guest as well, will have, you know, one or two words to share as well. You know, in terms of your birthday, I want to say happy birthday. I wish you many more years in longevity and sparkling of health, with joy, in good life, good health, and continued success. And of course, I'll be joining you so for Jolofin and whatever, you know. Many thanks, but quickly, what do you have to say to?
Well, so I would build on what you've said. Congratulations to the chairman, and then I also like the points that you made around the government just protecting businesses in Nigeria. So creating some form of system where indigenous businesses are protected and are given a fair or level playing field when it comes to competing with businesses outside of Nigeria. On that note, congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
All right, many thanks again for lending your voice on issues that affect us all. And again, I must say thank you so much for obliging to be here despite the short notice. Amaka Nwokoli. It's been a resourceful, you know, a wonderful show, so to speak. You know, courtesy you are a resourceful guest. You know, I wish you the very best as you continue to forge ahead in your career. I hope that you'll be able to navigate all the ease of doing business in this country. You know, just trying to keep pushing on this path. Keep pushing. But integrity is one of our statements I feel that we must take away from. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. Bye now.